Hi, this is Chris from needlepointers.com, and I'm here to share with you this table runner I made. This is the Southfields table runner, and the pattern is from a book named Table-tastic 2 by Doug Lico of Antler Quilt Designs. I purchased the kit and the book to make this table runner from the Crabby Quilter quilt shop in Annapolis, Maryland. They had a sample of this table runner, and I love the colors. I'm also into stars lately. As you can see, this table runner is made up of stars, 4 patches, and squares. It uses 6 prints to make the stars and 10 prints to make the patches and the squares, and a white for the background fabric. Since this pattern is from a book, I cannot show you how to make the table runner, but I will give you some tips on how to make this table runner using an AccuQuilt Go cube. The pattern in the book gives you step-by-step cutting and assembly instructions with lots of illustrations. So if you don't have an AccuQuilt Go system, you can follow the instructions in the pattern. I have an AccuQuilt cutting system and I wanted to use it to cut the fabrics for this table runner. I found that it really sped up the process of cutting the many different fabrics. By cutting out the triangles for the flying geese blocks, it made the assembly of these blocks much faster. I have a 5-inch cube and I use 4 dies to cut the fabrics for this table runner. I use the number 1 for the centers of the stars, number 2 for background and the larger chain blocks, number 4 quarter square triangles for the flying geese blocks, and number 5 half square triangles for the rest of the flying geese blocks. I was able to cut all of the pieces for the table runner with the cube except for 2 rectangles. Those I cut to size when I got to that step in the runner, as their size did not match the size of the rectangle in the 5-inch cube. The 5-inch cube cuts the blocks a little smaller than the original pattern size, so my table runner finished at 13 inches by 36.5 inches. The original table runner pattern makes a runner that is 15.5 inches by 45.5 inches. A 6-inch cube may have made the runner closer to the original size, so the pattern can be made with pretty much any size cube. If you'd like to know how many of each piece I cut with my AccuQuilt Go cube, please click the link in the description of this video to go to our page for this project. On that page, I'll have AccuQuilt cutting instructions, links to where to purchase the Table-tastic 2 book, and my tips on assembling this table runner. Even with the AccuQuilt cutting, I do recommend purchasing the book to assemble the quilt. It is not as straightforward as you might think. There is even one partial seam in the assembly process. Some tips for making this table runner. Label the cut pieces as recommended in the cutting instructions. This will help a lot when you're assembling everything together. I like using my pins with letters or numbers when I need to label fabrics. If you cut your fabrics with AccuQuilt, skip the instructions in step 1 and assemble your flying geese by sewing together the quarter square triangles and half square triangles. Look at the finished table runner photo in the book for guidance. After that, continue with the remaining steps as in the instructions. At the beginning of each step, it tells you how many pieces of each fabric you will need for this step. The pieces are listed with the labels from the cutting instructions. So this is why it's important to label your pieces so you can keep track of each one. At the end of each step, it will say how many of the unit to make, and then it will give the unit name. So for the star, you make 6, and it's called Unit B after this point. In the next steps of the pattern, it will refer to the unit name when you need to use one of these stars. Don't get confused by the fabric letters and the unit letters. It may have been better if the author had the units numbered instead of lettered, so there wouldn't be a fabric A and a unit A. The instructions in the book indicate which way to iron all the seams. Look for the arrows in each of the diagrams to see which way to iron the seams. It's important to follow the ironing instructions so the blocks will nest together properly and your seams will match up. In step 7, there is a partial seam. The instructions say to sew the background piece onto the unit, but to stop 1 inch before the seam is finished. Don't worry, You'll pick up to sew the rest of that seam later in step 10. The diagrams in the pattern are very detailed and make it easier to understand how to assemble this table runner. Those are the tips I have for assembling this Southfields table runner by Doug Lico. Please look in the description of this video to find out where to get the book for this project. I hope you enjoyed seeing this table runner I made. I will enjoy displaying it. Subscribe to our channel so you won't miss future videos. Visit our website, needlepointers.com, for lots of other sewing tutorials. While you're there, sign up for our free newsletter so you won't miss new tutorials. Happy quilting!